Top up? Legit ba? Ang ano? Sobrang pay to win nga nito.
The moment I saw how the progression system works in Ragnarok the New World, I immediately knew this game was going to start a huge argument in the community. And later in this video, I am going to show you one progression system that honestly made me stop and think this is actually crazy. So stay until the end because that
Most brutal RNG system.
part completely changes how you look at grinding in this game. Hey everyone, I'm King.
Pero ang ganda ng graphics niya, no?
Welcome back to Kingspide channel. So
Parang ganda ng New World pero doon talaga ako sa Rossi kasi sobrang bilis ng buhay ng game. Rag na talaga boss. Tutuusin lang Ito, sobrang ganda na nung ROC pre. Hindi siya pay to win na sobra. Pay to win pa rin pero hindi sobra. Lahat naman yan. Basta gagastos ka ng pera, may pwedeng paggastosan yung whale. Pay to win yan pre. Pero hindi sobrang pay to win yung ROC. And marami nag-aabang ng ganong uri ng RO. Tapos ang sabi nila, ang mga word nila doon pre, pag merong RO na hindi pay to win, yun na talaga yung magiging best RO ever. Pero ganun din Pagkatapos ng tier cup, wala rin nag-alisan din yung mga player So mahirap na talaga boss. More on nostalgia na lang kasi talaga yung nahabol sa Ragnarok
The New World just started its open beta test, and after spending time
Grabe yung New World, kaya nga
systems, exploring the progression and seeing how the monetization works, I can already tell this game is going to attract a lot of players, but also a lot of criticism. And one thing this game does really well is making progression feel active. There's always something to do: mining, gathering, events, instances, refining equipment, costumes, cards. The game constantly pushes you to improve your
Sa lahat ng binanggit niya, parang yung card lang yung wala sa ibang MMO.
character. But the important question is, how fair is that progression? So first of all, let's talk about equipment progression, specifically the equipment refine level and enhance level, because
Kaya nga
this is basically the core of your character's strength. Now for equipment enhance or equipment upgrade, the only source right now comes from the life skill smelting. Basically, you need to go mining, gathering materials, collect resources from the world, then process those materials through smelting to create the upgrade materials. And personally, I actually like this part.
Pero parang ang daming ang gagawin dito, no? Parang may auto to, no?
Why? Because it gives life skills actual value. A lot of MMORPGs include gathering and crafting systems, but they end up feeling completely optional. Here, it actually matters. If you want stronger equipment upgrade levels, you cannot ignore life skills. But here's where things start getting interesting. The game does mention that enhanced materials can also be obtained from the daily instance.
Bahala dyan, pre.
But after checking the drop list myself, I don't actually see the upgrade materials listed there. What I do see listed are refined materials like Oridecon.
Anong parte dito yung brutal RNG? Parang di niya pa nababanggit. Ragnarok was one of the most brutal RNG system yet. Oh, yet.
And Illunium. So currently, refined materials mainly come from daily instances and daily time events like Ancient Ruins, Hazy Forest, and other scheduled activities.
Kailan ba ang ano nito, pre?
Free to
Kailan ang release nito? Ragnarok New World release. Kailan ang release nito, pre? July 16? Next month pa pala? Matagal pa pala, pre. Matagal pa pala.
play, your daily routine matters a lot in this game. Missing events could slow down your progression quite heavily. Now remember this point because later I'm going to explain why this system creates a very huge gap between spenders and non-spenders. For players who top up, things become much easier. You can directly purchase refined materials from the shop using premium currency called Starstone. And this is where the game starts revealing what kind of MMORPG it wants to be. There's also another source through the gold shop to get gold.
Di talaga trip rag na halos lahat ng nalabas agad na 6 months tapos may lalabas ulit ginagawa na ng cash cow. Sobrang daming rag na. Sobrang daming rag na, boss, pumapangit na yung rag na eh. Biruin mo kada taon ilang rag na nilalabas. Parang nasa 12 yata na rag na nilalabas kada taon eh. Magkakaiba lang yung nagre-release pero pare-parehas lang.
Coins consistently, you mainly need the monthly pass. Once you buy the monthly pass, you receive daily gold.
Alam niyo kung saan magaling talaga itong mga Ragna na naglalabas ng bago Ragna, pre? Sa ano? Sa marketing nila, pre. Pero mo sobra kasi parang private server na lang yung labas nito eh. Kasi nilabas na to dati itong game na to. I-release lang nila ulit. Pero may maglalaro pa rin. Sobrang galing lang nila sa marketing. Piniperayan na lang yung mga Oo nga eh. Pwede siguro ang laruin na lang nila pero yung mga private server na lang na hindi masyadong mahal. Alam ko may ganun eh. Pero yun nga lang, bawal kasi yung mga private server na yan eh.
Coins over time. You can still get some gold coins from achievements and the Brave Trial instance, which honestly feels more like the pet instance to me. But those are very limited because most of them are one-time sources only. The Battle Pass also give refined materials and gold.
Tapos ang maganda pa sana sa ano pala pre. Ang isa sa pinakamagandang nagustuhan ko sa ROC, isa sa ayaw ko talaga nangyari sa ROC pre. Yung nirelease agad nila yung about sa tier cap pre. Parang meron na siyang hype dun sa etong ROC, hindi siya sobrang pay to win. Tapos dinagdagan pa siya ng hype na tier cap. Ngayon, dalawa na yung ine-expect ng tao na makuha nila. Hindi pay to win, tapos yung tier cap. Ngayon, pag natanggal sila sa tier cap, pre, ang panghahawakan na lang nila yung hindi pay to win. Kaso ang problema, yung iba tinatamad na eh. Yung ibang mga gumagastos, tinatamad na. Once na matanggal sila sa tier cap, sana hindi mo na nila nilabas yun or hindi mo na sila naglabas nun. Siguro pinaabot muna nila ng mga 2 months, 3 months bago nila i-release yun. Or bago nila in-announce yun. Hindi yung parang day 1 pa lang alam na kagad yung cash price.
Coins, but obviously the deluxe version gives significantly
nakita ko rin
more
yan, nakita ko rin yan.
value. And this is where I think the game cleverly separates progression systems, because even though refined materials can be purchased, the actual equipment upgrade materials still cannot be bought directly from the Starstone shop or Gold shop. You still need life skills for that. So
yun naman pala yung hindi mo pay to win lahat okay din pala eh.
The game still forces everyone to participate in gathering and smelting no matter how much money they spend. But at the same time, refining is still heavily accelerated through spending. And this is probably the biggest thing players need to understand before fully committing to this game. If you buy the monthly card together with the Battle Pass, your gameplay experience becomes very comfortable. Your progression becomes smoother. Your materials become less stressful to obtain, and your refined pace becomes much faster. Meanwhile, for free-to-play players, you really need to stay consistent with daily activities, events, and
Dami rin gagawin, no? 4 na araw, may tuloy-tuloy.
instances if you want to keep up. Now here comes the big question. Is this game pay to win? Honestly, yes. Especially if you care a lot about guild war rankings, PvP strength, or reaching very high refined levels quickly. Because technically, almost all the refined progression...
Lahat naman eh. Lahat naman ng nire-release na MMO ngayon, pay to win eh. Wala na namang hindi. Kahit yung mga lumang game, pre, once na nabibili mo na yung currency dun, pay to win na rin yun.
Can be accelerated through spending. A player with enough money can instantly buy refined materials using Starstone and push their equipment to very high levels much earlier.
Sabi nga sa akin, pre, kahit daw World of Warcraft, pre, pay to win na rin eh. Pay to win na rin talaga, pre, kasi may mabibili ka na dun sa mga player eh. Ganun din, ginamitan mo rin naman ng pera.
Than everyone else. And we all know once players start reaching plus 15 or plus 20 refined levels, the stat difference becomes massive. In this game, we have what they call the refined level resonance. And this resonance actually give quite a lot of bonuses. 10%, 20%, 30% refined attack. It's a lot. But at the same time, this is not cheap. We are talking about extremely heavy spending if someone wants to immediately max out everything early. So this game feels less like small spender advantage and more like big spender acceleration.
Pang ano pala to? Pang super whaler pala tong laro na to, pre.
Estimating how expensive high-end refining will become later. But hold on, because the progression system gets even crazier when we start talking about costumes and headgear. And this part, I think many players are actually going to love and hate at the same time. Costume and headgear customization in this game is honestly one of the coolest systems I've seen recently in a Ragnarok MMORPG. You can freely resize headgears, make them smaller, bigger, move them around, place them sideways above the head, in front of the character. It gives players a lot of freedom to create unique looks, and visually it is actually very fun. You can immediately tell players are going to spend hours just customizing their characters alone. But of course, there's another side to the system. These headgears are not purely cosmetic. Some of them come with stats, and some of the stronger ones are tied to paid costumes or gacha systems.
Holy
For example, right now there's the Dazzling Journey costume theme. Inside the collection, section, there's the Starlit Dream headgear, which gives 2%
Attack percent.
stats. Now, 2% might not sound huge early on, but MMORPG players know exactly how dangerous percentage scaling becomes later in progression, especially once players start stacking multiple stat bonuses together. So yes, spenders can absolutely gain extra power through cosmetic systems, and this is one of those systems where casual players may not care too much, but competitive players will definitely pay attention. Now remember earlier I said there's one progression system.
Pero daw yung malala dyan eh. Yung card parang RNG rin yung stats ng card daw eh.
Question the entire design philosophy of the game? Yeah, this is the part, the card system. At first, I actually thought the card system looked interesting. When you get a card, it does not only come with one stat. Instead, cards can have one fixed stat together with 2 random affixes. On paper, this sounds exciting because it adds more variety and allows players to get stronger cards with additional bonuses. But then, I noticed something very questionable. Even the fixed stat itself has RNG. It does not give you a guaranteed absolute value.
Grabe no? 10.8 to 18% because of the 2 random affixes.
Instead, the fixed stat comes with percentage ranges, which means 2 players farming the exact same card may end up with completely different stat values. And suddenly, the system becomes way more brutal than it
Pero
first
parang mas maganda yung ganyan no? Hindi kayo magkakaparehas ng stats.
appears. Now, to be fair, the game still follows the other Ragnarok style of card farming system with a PT mechanic. So if your card progression eventually reaches 100%, you are guaranteed to get a card even if your luck is terrible while farming monsters. That part is actually good because at least players know their grinding is slowly progressing somewhere. But the problem is, after all that farming, after all that patience, after all that time spent
Dapat may ganito rin sa Emir eh no? Pag matagal ka na nagfa-farm, makakapulot ka ng epic. Pero bound.
grinding monsters, the card you finally obtain can still roll bad stats. And honestly, that's the part that feels rough because RNG on obtaining the card is already one layer, but RNG on the stat quality itself becomes another layer entirely. And personally, I think this system is going to become one of the most controversial topics in Ragnarok the New World because players can accept grinding. MMORPG players are used to farming, but when players spend a very long time finally getting the item they want, only for the stats to still roll poorly, that's where frustration starts building. Now overall, after spending time on the open beta, I think Ragnarok the New World is actually very good at creating progression excitement. There's always another upgrade to chase, another event to join, another stat to improve, and another costume to collect. The game
sobrang daming ang pay to win, no, pre? Tanga, hindi ako makakasabay sa ganito.
At the same time, the monetization and
Hirap pa naman ito, walang NFT. Kumbaga, kung ano yung character ko, yun na yun hanggang dulo. Pwedeng bumili pero minsan kasi Gmail baka delikado.
RNG systems are very aggressive, and I think this game will heavily depend on what type of player you are. If you enjoy competitive ranking, fast progression, and keeping up with top players, this game could become extremely expensive. But if you are more casual, enjoy social aspect, love customization, and enjoy grinding little by little with friends, then honestly, there's still a lot of fun here. And I think that's the biggest
Lot of fun kung mayaman ka, pre.
insight after playing the open beta. Ragnarok the New World is not trying to slow players down. Instead, it constantly tempts players to progress faster. And whether that feels exciting or exhausting will completely depend on the person playing it. Still, I can already tell this game is going to create a lot of discussions in the coming weeks, especially once players
Ragnarok New World. Teka lang. Ragnarok New World. Nice. Random online. Six months, pinakamatagal.
reach higher progression stages and start feeling the true impact of refining costumes and card RNG. So for now, I'm really curious to see how the developers respond to player feedback during the open beta period.
Pag hindi nila binago to, pre. Pag hindi nila maginago to, maagang made-dead game to. Kasi importante yung kailangan makasabay pa rin yung mga hindi mga whaler eh. Kasi yung mga hindi whaler, pre, pag naramdaman na niya na sobrang wala na silang kwenta, madalas nagko-quit na yan eh. Hindi pa naman play to earn yung mga ganitong game. So magiging purpose lang talaga dyan ng mga player na free to play ano lang, tagasambot na suntok ng mga boss, ng mga whale. Pag naramdaman nila na sobrang wala silang kwenta, magkukwit na yan lang yan, pre. Kaya importante yung mga F2P, pre. F2P, semi-spender. Importante yan. Kasi doon nararamdaman ng mga whale na whale sila eh. Tapos pag puro whale na yung nagpapaluan, wala na, dito na maramdaman yun.
That's it for this video. Thank you for always supporting me and this channel. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button.
Mir 5 kaya pay to win. Sigurado yan, pre. Mir 5, NC2, lahat ng lalabas ng MMO, galing Korea, 90 to 99%, pre. Pay to win yan. Kasi tandaan nyo lagi kung bakit pay to win yan, pre. Kasi may mga dev dyan eh. Sa likod niyang game na yan, may mga dev dyan. So may mga maintain yan, pre. So hindi mo naman pwedeng laruin yan nang walang kikitain yung mga dev. Hindi lang yon, may mga ano ba? Meron din mga investor yan, pre. May mga investor yan na kailangan nilang pangitiin, pre. Every time na magkakaroon ng report na maganda ba yung tinakbo ng game, ito yung tinakbo ng game, pangit yung tinakbo ng game. So kailangan nilang mapangiti yun, pre. Ito yung kinita sa game. So yun ang kailangan nilang isatisfy dyan, pre. Hindi porket madaming viewers, hindi naman laging about lang sa dami ng daily active users yung pagde-develop ng game. End of the day, boss, mga negosyo pa rin talaga yan eh. So, expect nyo talaga. May VIP din nata dyan. Sigurado yan, pre. Expect nyo na yan kung talagang mag-MMO kayo, pre. Take it or leave it na lang yan. Sa mga bagong MMO, pay to win na lahat yan, mga boss. Lahat yan. Lahat na nang lalabas, pay to win yan. Huling nag-try niyan, Tarisland, hindi rin nila natupad, na ba sila? Wala. Sarado na yung game. So, yun lang. Baka pass tayo dito. Pero baka mag day 1 intro tayo dito, mga boss. Subukan lang natin yung feels ng laro. Pero yun nga. Pag ganito sobrang lala ng RNG, saglit lang dito yung mga mga free to play, pre. Lalo't walang play to earn system na talaga naka-involve doon sa game. Medyo mahirap pa i-stay yung mga tao. So yun lang.